Welcome to Getting Defensive, presented by Gridiron Ratings. I am your host, JJ Wenner, and tonight we tackle our rookie safety rankings. I am joined, as always, by my friend and Gridiron Ratings senior IDP analyst. You can find him on Twitter at the IDP Tipster, the OG of IDP, Gary Van Dyke. How are you doing, my friend?
Doing great. Ready to get these rankings done. And I'm glad to have Mase on for the first time on Getting Defensive. Welcome, my friend.
Thank you guys for having me so much. 1,000,000 thank yous. I'm very excited.
Absolutely. Also with us is the author of the Key and Diagnose series. You can find him on Twitter at BJack83, Brandon Jackson. How are you doing, Brandon?
I'm doing good, JJ. Excited to talk about these rookie safeties. There's a lot of intriguing players in there. Very excited to talk about and hear Gary and also Mace's their view on these players.
Well, no spoiler alert. They both mentioned him. Tonight, we welcome a first-time guest to Getting Defensive. You may know him from IDP Guys or his work as a ranker for Fantasy Pros. Or if you are like me, you know him from his great content on his Twitter handle at CaliKing49er17. Mase Riney. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm good. You nailed that. I'm cool. I'm ready to get defensive with these safety rankings.
There you go. Hey, oh man,
It's a little cheesy dad pun there.
You're on the short list.
I couldn't resist, man.
You're on the short list.
Listen, Mase, I'm going to ignore these other two bums for a minute, but it's great getting a chance to talk to you now. I wanted to ask your opinion a little bit on the Fantasy Cares Eliminators scoring. Now, for those of you who don't know, an offshoot of the Scott Fishbowl is run by John Bosch and incorporates some of the wackiest scoring I have ever seen, such as negative points for carries, targets, incompletions, and pass attempts. Honestly, Mase, do you have any idea what you're doing in that league?
No, man, but it's leagues like that really keep you on your toes, and it's like you live and you learn, and you roll with the punches, and it's all about having fun and giving back anyways. So, I mean, whoever comes out on top comes out on top.
Well, it's good to hear that because I thought I was alone. I feel like I'm just randomly picking players, but it's for charity. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, blind leading the blind, man. You just hope that you don't get sniped, even though you're not really sure if you actually are getting sniped because of the format,
Absolutely. Well, before we get into tonight's topic, make sure you like and subscribe below to get all of our most recent content. Follow us on Twitter at Gridiron Rating. Visit our website, gridironratings.com. Remember, your path to the title starts with Gridiron Ratings. Gentlemen, let's get to it. Last week, we tackled the inside linebackers. Tonight, we continue with our rookie focus, but we dial in on the safeties. Let's kick right off. You all agreed, as did the NFL. Our number one rated rookie safety is Kyle Hamilton from Notre Dame, drafted by Baltimore at pick 14. Now, Mase, our guy Jeff is head over heels in love with Hamilton and considers him a generational talent. Are you all in on him?
Dude, when you see him on screen, you see him compared to everyone else. Even though it was college, it's really hard to think otherwise. This guy can play anywhere. He finds the holes on blitzes. He's 6'4", 220, 225, something like that. He has great instincts. He's so handsy. I mean, the only knock I have on him is that sometimes he catches the ball with his body. And that's really it. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I'm all about that generational tag.
That is awesome. Gary, I have a question more of like how you think he's going to get deployed in Baltimore. Do we have to worry about him playing a free safety position, or is he going to get snaps up in the box?
Yeah, I don't think we're going to have to worry about him being deep on the field. I think they're going to use him up in the box area. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens between him and Chuck Clark. Excuse me.
Yep.
They love Chuck Clark a lot. I kind of snickered at it a couple of weeks ago about the rumor about them going to trade him and he's on the block and stuff. He's a horrible guy. He wasn't going nowhere from the beginning. I just kind of laughed at that whole situation. I would have been shocked at least. But when it really boils down to it, I think there's room for three safeties on the field anyways. I kind of discussed it. We throw it around there, nickel backer for for Hamilton would probably be best suit this whole situation, considering they didn't do anything to improve the other inside linebacker next to Queen, which has been kind of iffy on his own. So I think there's going to be a lot of production there. There's room for him to start getting the snaps and get into that rotation, probably start the season as a starter somewhere on that field in some packages.
We have a question from a listener or a viewer, I guess. Craig Reith asks, good evening. Will Gary tell us why he hates drafting IDP players in mixed leagues?
Maybe, but no, I'm not. I am
Sorry, Craig,
trying.
he said no.
Oh man, I'm trying. I am trying so hard. Just let's roll. We're here to rank. It's really that's what it's all about, and that's what we're doing here. Is that not what we're doing here, gentlemen?
All right, so we are going to ignore you, Craig. I apologize for that. Let's move right on then to our number 2 safety. Again, a consensus pick. Jaquan Brisker from Penn State, drafted by Chicago at the 16th pick of the second round. Brandon, the NFL drafted 5 other safeties before Brisker. Why do you have him at number 2?
Because the opportunity in Chicago, he's going to be starting next to was Eddie Jackson, the free safety. So I'm expecting Brisker, the slot right in there, strong safety, be that box safety, which fits his profile. You just watch the tape. He's very athletic and very aggressive when it comes to stopping the run. So that's why I have him as my number 2, because I think he's going to be the day one starter there, strong safety next to Eddie Jackson. Eddie Jackson struggled last year at free safety, but I've been reading some reports and the new administration, the head coach, said they're giving him another chance here. So he's going to be a free safety again this year, and Brisker is going to be the strong safety. With him and Kyle Hamilton, I expect them to be day one starters.
Mase, are you on board with that?
Oh, 100%. I think that they're going to use and abuse this kid, man, and put him everywhere and just try to see where he fits. He can get a bit stiff sometimes, and he's not really good at disguising coverages. But I feel like with a defensive-minded head coach and just being as athletic as he is naturally and just gifted with his instincts, he's going to fit in there just fine. If he doesn't fit in, he's going to get his licks. And here in a couple of years, I feel like he'll be a lot better off.
Now, Gary, I know we're talking mainly about our rankings based on Dynasty, right? We're talking about skill mixed with landing spot, and we're looking at this over the long haul. Mm-hmm. However, we also like to talk about redraft a little bit on this pod.
Right.
So obviously Kyle Hamilton and Brisker, these guys are both solid picks in redraft leagues as well, right?
Still got me cornered, didn't he, kind of on that? What were you doing, man? So when it really boils down to it, I actually think that probably either one of these two could, possibly be very serviceable in some deeper formats. If you're talking to shallower formats, they're probably a first depth reach kind of guy. I mean, you put them on your first guy off the bench if an injury or a bye week or something, so you just start the season. But realistically, I had a lot of trouble not putting Brisker ahead of Hamilton. I think it was almost peer pressure. It kept me from doing it because I think that at least in a redraft aspect, and I mean, even going forward, both of these guys get the right opportunities. But I mean, the Ravens, sure, I believe Hamilton's going to produce and be a great IDP play down there. But it worries me a little bit how they rotate positions, how they do use these guys. There's not a lot of, Chuck Clark and who got all the corners. Marcus Williams, yeah. Well, no, I'm talking about in the past. It gets 100% of the snap counts. I think they're a little low. I think they're a little high on their rotations, put it that way. So I think if Brisker works out, it was hard not to push him at a Hamilton being up there in the box. And Chicago's done nothing to help that inside linebacker position again, at least not in the draft, if I remember right.
Gary, I don't like how you always rain on my parade, so I am not going to listen to you. Mase, I'm going to pretend I didn't ask Gary that question. I'm going to ask it to you. Are you comfortable in redraft taking both of these guys as a starting safety?
I would say, just a caveat off what Gary was saying, yeah. Brisker more so than Hamilton, just because Chuck Clark last year had over 1,000 snaps, and he was the only defensive player to do so on the Ravens. So you talk about that consistency. The next guy was Brandon Stevens. So, I mean, he can get in there, but yeah, rotational aspect where you have a guy like Brisker who I expect to be on the field for more than 70%, especially if you put the capital into the guy, because they didn't have a first-round pick, did they? The Bears? So that was he was one of their first couple of picks. I don't remember, but I think they have big plans for this kid. So Brisker for sure. Hamilton, in some deeper leagues, or maybe if you have a positional league like that.
All right, well, gentlemen, the last of our consensus pick comes in at number 3. Lewis Cine from Georgia, drafted by the Vikings at pick 32. Now, Gary, the Vikings have a fantastic player at safety already. Do you think the team can support 2 IDP starters at this position?
Yeah, realistically, with the new coaching scheme, we can possibly see a good 3. I think we're seeing a little bit of a change. We might see a little bit of difference in what we had seen over the past few years. So I think that Cine fits in well. He's fast. He doesn't really profile as a free safety, and we know we got Harrison Smith up in the box. They're not going to throw Harrison Smith. He's not the same. He's over 30. He's lost a little bit of a step. You're not going to throw him in that situation. But then we also have Cannon Bynum that stepped in last year. I'm really high on him. I can't necessarily say at this point that he'll start over the rookie, but because the rookie's got a lot going for him. I think it's going to be. I could see all 3 of these guys. Well, Harrison's going to be on there 100%. And I could see Cine starting out as the.
Say it with me, Gary. Yeah. Cine.
Sorry.
Cine.
I seen it.
There you go. Perfect.
My bad.
It's okay.
So I can see Cine starting at free safety, but I still expect Bynum to get out there and be in a slot or something. They're not going to not have him on the field. So just that little bit of portion that we got last year of him. But it's going to be a little bit interesting. I'm going to be shying away just a touch from this just because of that question. It's just another question. He's not as I don't think probably as good as coverage. He's fast, but he's more of an in the box guy and probably somebody that's going to replace Smith down the road.
Yeah. Now, Brandon, what have you seen in Cine?
Cine, he's a good prospect. I put in my top 3 landing spots. It wasn't based on talent. It was based on landing spots. That's why I have number 3 Dynasty rankings because I think he's gonna start relatively quickly. I'm piggyback off of Gary. He's not that great in coverage. He's very fast and he profiles more as a box safety. So it's going to be interesting what role he's going to have as a rookie, especially with Harrison Smith up there in age. He's in his mid-30s. Harrison Smith probably profiles best as a strong safety. So it should be interesting if they're going to play Cine at free safety because he didn't really look great in coverage. And plus, the general manager has talked up Cameron Bynum, like Gary was stating. So, it should be interesting where they put him. But I still think that Cine is going to have a very big role as a rookie because they're very high on him. They said they had him rated in the teens in the draft. So I think he's going to have a big role.
Now, our Tuesday host, Craig Reith, is weighing in
of course
with a dad joke. But he said that he has seen Bynum listed as a CB now, cornerback. Mase, thoughts?
I like him. I liked him out of Cal. He was a good piece. He's out of Cal, right? I believe.
Yeah, he
Cal.
was like He was really good in college too. I guess
He was.
He had some. He was under the radar in the rookie draft when he got on the radar last year because I wasn't paying attention to him because he was drafted as a QB and then he switched him over. Yeah, and I was kind of like, wow, check this dude out. He actually a lot of ball skills that went under the radar.
Yeah. So I think it would be wise for them to just do like a dueling safety. You guys are saying Harrison Smith's getting up there in age, just depending on what side of the field the tight end's on or slot guy or whatever you have. You have one guy go deep, one guy come up. I think that might be the best way to kind of do that. It would also create a wildly good chemistry between them. And that young defense, they need someone to step up like really bad in a big way. And I feel like if they did that at the top of the defense, it would be really good for them going forward.
Let me cut in real quick. I don't think that after the year that Xavier Woods had, and Xavier Woods didn't exactly go get paid somewhere like a superstar, but after Xavier Woods, I think that Bynum is why they were comfortable being able to let Woods walk, and at the same time, they got the draft, but I don't think that's exactly why they let Woods walk. I think Bynum was. So if that makes any sense.
Oh, it absolutely does. Chris S. commented that he believes Cine is greater than Hamilton in his opinion. Interesting take,
Wow.
Chris. We will see what happens this year. Now, gentlemen, this is where we start differing a little bit. Coming in as our number 4 ranked safety is Jalen Pitre from Baylor, drafted by the Houston Texans at the 5th pick of the 2nd round. Mase, what's the dish on Pitre?
I liked him a little bit. I think I had a late 2nd, early 3rd grade on him. For me, it's just the landing spot and the potential for that defense and how it's going to be an upward battle for that offense, even though they have Davis Mills going into year 2, guys like Bryan Cook, stuff like that. I like him. He has no fear. He gets flat-footed sometimes and has trouble shedding blocks, but he's got a nose for the ball in the backfield. So I don't know. Just depending on how they use him, I think they have him listed as a free safety, if I'm not wrong right now. So
it's kind of wide open. I mean, you look at just look at that roster.
Yeah, no, exactly. So that's just kind of where it is for me. But you know that he's going to be starting somewhere. So spending the draft capital on him where he's at right now, I don't mind that at all.
Gary, what do you think about Pitre?
I love the opportunity. I think the player is probably, I don't know. I mean, I don't think he's a superstar. Yeah, I think he's going to be better in the box form. I wouldn't be sticking. I don't think I'd stick him back here. I don't think he's ready for the NFL coverage. I don't think he's that. I don't think he's that type of guy. I think he's going to end up being the starting strong safety. And I actually struggled a little bit with this guy too. I mean, he's going to have the opportunity. We already kind of look at the whole Houston situation, like, there's going to be a lot of time on the field for a lot of people. Or no, wait a minute, maybe not the offense. They might be like going in and out real quick. I don't know. But either way, yeah, I mean, the opportunity's there. And if you just look at that, unless I'm actually recanting myself here a little bit because I haven't looked at it for a little bit, but I mean, Terrence Brooks. Who do we have? We have nobody. MJ Stewart Jr. And I don't know, that might not be the same MJ Stewart either that I know of as a cornerback, but I don't know. He's going to get some production. He's going to get some play as long as they don't sign somebody to the bench. So that's why he's wavering where he's at on my list.
Now, Brandon, if we start, right, I always like to go back to redraft. We talked about the first 2 players. Now looking at Cine and Pitre. Sounds from what I'm hearing, what I'm picking up from everybody is that's about the cutoff, right? Pitre and Cine, like, are we really looking at them in redraft?
Pitre and Cine, the only safety I really feel confident in redraft, I would say, is Kyle Hamilton. I think, I'm very high on Kyle Hamilton, man. I think his opportunity to get Rookie of the Year, major playing time in his rookie season and in his role, they could put him at nickel backer. So I like Kyle Hamilton. I think he's the safest bet for rookie production.
But that's the cutoff then, right? Like, you're not going any further down in your redraft.
No, I'm guessing, Brisker. I'm sorry, Brisker.
Okay.
is the cutoff because he's going to be the day one starter at strong safety. The rest of the guys, no, because I'm not sure what role Cine is going to play. He's probably going to be slotted free safety. Harrison Smith, the other safety.
So we would definitely need to see more in training camp or get some news that has to change that. Let's take a look at our number 5 overall ranking. We have Daxton Hill from Michigan. Now, he was drafted by the Bengals with pick 31. Brandon, you were the highest of the crew on Daxton. Is this a hill you're willing to die on?
Oh, yeah, for sure, man. I looked at the film, and I was just so impressed. As far as like overall talent perspective, I think he's like the number 2 safety in this draft. And it's no surprise that the Bengals drafted him as a second safety off the board. Look at him; he's just extremely versatile. He played safety, both safety positions, and also slot corner. To me, he's with his skill set, he's solid in coverage, and also, he's a very good hitter, very strong in the running game. Watching him, I'm getting these vibes of Kenny Moore and Buda Baker. I think he's the next Buda Baker. That'd be my best comp for him. If you just look at the way Buda Baker, when he came to the league, he manned the slot, and his skills tackling at the line of scrimmage. I'm just really excited about Daxton Hill in the production that he can make. Maybe not in year 1, but in year 2. I think they have big plans for Daxton Hill. They're very excited about him. A lot of people were wondering, if he's going to be playing corner. Well, at the post-draft press conference, the GM and the head coach, they said his position is safety, and the second position is slot corner. They're very definitive about that. He's probably not going to play perimeter corner. He didn't play that in college. Those were the 2 roles he played: safety and slot corner. So you just look at a guy like Buda Baker, Kenny Moore, 100 tackle upside. I think that's his upside. That's the role he's going to play.
Now, Craig Reith states, Mase, if you could weigh in on this. He said if Jesse Bates holds out like he says or gets traded, Daxton Hill could have immediate value. I know it's a big if, but are you on board with that?
No, 100%. I was actually going to say for him to even step in at the nickelback for Mike Hilton is kind of, what are they going to do, push Hilton outside? Or I don't know. So it's kind of a mess there. But at the same time, I had this guy ranked like 8th or 9th overall like 2 months ago. Went back, relooked at him, saw his skill set, and when he went day 1, right, at the very end?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so when he went day 1, I was
Last
excited,
pick, I think.
But also confused for fantasy because you don't really know where to put him right now. But he's the king of deflecting passes, and he has great pressure off the edge when he's going towards the quarterback. He's just a freak. Like out of that slot, when he does that blitz, he does it when the quarterback's completely trying to read the opposite side of the field. He's so dirty with it, man. He's a really, really, really good player, and he does have not infinite potential, but you know what I mean. He's got a lot of potential. I like him a lot.
That's great to hear. We love when the safeties get some pass rush opportunity. Immediately jacks up their value, just as Jamal Adams. At number 6, we have Bryan Cook from Cincinnati, drafted by the Chiefs at the 30th pick of the 2nd round. Now, Gary, you were the highest on Cook, ranking him 5th among the rookies. Is it the player or the situation that you're more excited about?
Actually, if I remember right, he was like running into 4.3s too. I think this is actually when I remember looking at their overall athletic skill set or whatever, their times and all of that. And there was a lot of 4.3 guys in here. So it's not like they're not talented. As far as him, where I've got him, I mean, it's kind of my breaking off point. From him, I don't know. Wait a minute. Probably from Cook on down. That's kind of like a tier to me. I think some certain things are really going to have to happen to make these guys, just like everybody else was talking about Hill. It's going to probably be next year unless somebody holds out. Unless Hilton, whatever. I mean, I like the situation. Enough, though, that I think he's going to get a lot of play at the 3rd safety spot. Sorson's moved on. Matthew moved on. They're just going to need him as a body, and I think that they're at the moment of the way they sit. He's primed to start. It's just a matter of how valuable he'll be able to be over the next 2 to 3 years on a consistent basis, based off of what the Chiefs do with that defense. Until Andy Reid changes something or whatever, it's probably, it's just another one of those rotational, scary shows each week.
Brandon, where are you at on Cook?
From a talent perspective, I have him, ranked 7 in my rankings. I think Nick Cross is better, but I do think there's opportunity for him to come in and gain a starting job as a rookie. Just looking at the depth chart, and you look at their secondary, the way it performed last season. They replaced Tyrann Mathieu with Justin Reed. So I'm projecting Justin Reed is going to be the free safety. He played free safety with the Houston Texans. And they got rid of Sorensen. I think they have Thornhill there, but he was a second-round pick a few years ago when they looked like they're replacing him with Bryan Cook here. So, Thornhill, he's been mediocre. So I think Bryan Cook does have an opportunity to come in and start. He profiles as like a strong safety because he's a very big hitter. That's what I saw on tape. He also is very, very good in coverage. That's what they're looking for. They're looking for two safeties that can cover. You look in the playoff game against the Bills. They just got ripped apart by Josh Allen and Gabriel Davis. They're looking for two safeties that can come in and cover. Thornhill, I think that's like his weakness. So I think Cook can come in as a rookie and contribute right away.
So, Mase, does this spell the end of Juan Thornhill? Should I be moving all my shares for anything I can?
Honestly, I was kind of thinking that Bryan Cook was going to have to compete with Lonnie Johnson. I think he signed with them as well. He's a defensive back. He could be playing corner too. He's just one of those guys that can kind of do it all or was doing it all for Houston. I like Bryan Cook because his sideline hits and his ability to cover on the sidelines is amazing, and he always puts his hat to the ball. He occasionally floats towards the ball and play action and gets lost, has guys come up behind him like motion guys and stuff like that. But he is a defensive back that plays the linebacker mindset. I like that. He is a little undersized to maybe be a tweener, but that's kind of where I like him based on how he plays. I think he could match up against running backs, tight ends very well. Overly aggressive guy like Brandon was saying. So I like him. Taxi squad kind of guy, see what happens with him. I don't know if I'd go out and spend high capital on him, depending on the league, obviously. But for Dynasty, I have no problem stashing him, see what happens.
Very good. At number 7, we have Nick Cross from Maryland, drafted by the Colts with the 32nd pick of the 3rd round. Now, Mase, you and Brandon both had Cross over Cook. What do you see in him?
I like the way that he plays. He plays overly aggressive, super athletic, potential for days. He communicates to his team a lot, but his team is not always there to back him up. I feel like there's a lot of me guys on that squad. You see him sitting there calling out coverages and move over, and it's like a headward battle. So he loses. Look, that's just me speaking. It looks like he kind of lost his luster as the game goes on in certain games. But like I said, he's got amazing potential, and he's on an amazing defense. They've got support on all levels of that defense. So for him to go in there, he's just comfortable, polished, brand new body, and he's going to bring the pain, I feel like.
Now, Gary, you have Cross at 10, which is considerably lower than the others. Is there a reason?
Well, it was more of the fact that I don't see his playing time coming in the prime right away. Okay. Realistically, that's it. Like I said, when I got to Cook, it's kind of a tier, a whole nother tier. So I'm not expecting much out of Cross, at least this year, maybe 2 years. I mean, maybe a little bit of rotation, but if I remember right, Indianapolis prefers using more cornerbacks on the field than they do safeties, if they can. But I'm not 100%. Don't quote me on that.
Do you guys think that maybe he takes over for that George Odom role? at special teams, kind of moving over, doing things like that, or
Right.
okay, and then kind of prove his worth.
At least off the top. I mean,
Yeah,
personally. Okay. I mean,
Right,
it really
as a
depends on
rookie.
Blackman too. If Blackman goes down, then dude's
Yeah.
And Blackman is coming off an injury.
yeah. So's Willis. So,
yeah, I think he's the
yeah.
Kerby Willis replacement.
When I got down there around Butler and stuff, guys, I had trouble with those last three. It was like, well, it's kind of like what's going to happen with this situation. There's a lot more question marks the farther you go down the list.
Right. But I mean, Cross is a better player. You just watch the tape. He's more athletic. He's better in coverage than what I saw Cook was. So I think that's a solid selection by the Colts. You look at the Colts. I mean, Blackman, he's very good in coverage. He's a free safety. Willis is more run stopping guy. He's more of a liability in coverage. And Willis is going to be an unrestricted free agent next season. So I think that Cook is going to be the replacement for Kerby Willis. You watch the tape; he's very aggressive. One of the hardest hitting safeties. He profiles as a box safety in there. So I think there's a lot of upside, Gary. I don't think it's going to take 2 years. I think next year he can slide in there if he shows really good promise, because they want that versatility, especially the NFL game is a pass happy league. You got to have two safeties that can cover.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
With Cook, he's good in the box and he can cover. So I'm thinking he's the Kerby Willis replacement.
Well, you got a little defensive with me there, Brandon. That's all right, though, man. I get it. That's cool.
He absolutely should.
Hey, smiling. Hey, what?
All right. At number 8, we have Dane Belton from Iowa, drafted by the New York Football Giants with the 9th pick of the 4th round. Brandon, does Dane have a chance to be great?
I don't know if he has a chance to be great. I mean, he's a decent prospect. He's going to have a good chance to start year one. You're just looking at the depth chart. They have Xavier McKinney and pretty much nothing else. I think Julian Love is the other safety. I think he played like a lot of slot. So, there's some opportunity for Belton. I think he had 5 interceptions as a senior. So, he's a ball hawk, and he played a lot, in the box. So he's a very versatile safety. Can't really see much flaws with him. Maybe he can be a little better, in coverage. But I think he's going to have a chance to start for the Giants year one.
Now, Mase, in most rookie rankings, once you start getting down towards, the later half of a top 10, it gets a little scarce. But do you have, I see you have Dane Belton at 8. It's about where he fell overall for the average. What are you seeing in Dane?
Honestly, it's just opportunity. He comes from a defensive college in Iowa, and that's cool. But his stats don't really jump out at you until this last year. Like Brandon was saying, he had the 5 interceptions, 8 pass breakups. Aside from that, he had 3 sacks, I think, in 2020, and those are his only sacks. He'll get you 5 to 8 tackles in a game, and that's fine. That's cool. But in the box, I just kind of want to see more. He does undercut the wide receiver on deep balls very well, and he also guards the wheel routes. Drafting earlier. Really well. But he can kind of get stuck in patty cake when he gets in the box. He goes up to a defender, someone on the line, maybe the tight end. He'll sit there and go with them in hopes that maybe the play collapses, and he doesn't really get a good look at what's going on. So if he can clean that up, I feel like he'll be all right. And he has, like Brandon was saying, a good chance of starting going forward. So I'd throw a dart at him.
Late round darts. That's what I love to do. All right, let's look at number 9. We have Kerby Joseph from Illinois. Now, he was drafted by the Lions with the 33rd pick of the 3rd round. Gary, what do you think?
I think Will Harris is probably going to be looking for a new job soon, but I just don't think it's going to be directly right away. But we got to remember, too, the last year they chose to play a guy named Marlowe that's now with Atlanta. He kind of walked in there and took over mid-season and was playing a lot of safety. Another one of those swing for the fences there. Can he beat out Harris? Because, like we've talked about how the Lions are trying to build a new situation up there, get a better culture going within the locker room, so you're going to be a little bit faithful to your veterans if you're expecting something out of them, and they're working for you, working with you, or whatever. Alex Anzalone comes to mind, so those kinds of situations come up. How much playing time he's going to get is really going to probably depend on injury, and can he outplay for a position that really is going to have some consistency for us in IDP?
So, Brandon, what does Kerby bring? What's his strength?
I think he's multidimensional. He can play against the run, but he was very productive in coverage. We had a lot of interceptions. I believe he's like a converted wide receiver. So he profiles as a free safety to me due to his playmaking in the passing game. And Gary was mentioning about Will Harris. I think the writing is on the wall for Will Harris. His days are numbered in Detroit. It started when they went out and signed Deshaun Elliott. And then now they drafted Kerby Joseph with a day 2 pick. They were talking about him possibly switching the slot corner. So that's where Will Harris is probably going to be playing in the slot. And they're going to have Kerby Joseph.
They better hope not.
He struggled, man. I watched some film of the games. They were getting beat deep. I think the Ravens, Hollywood Brown could have like 5 touchdowns against them. So he really struggled last year. So they need a coverage safety. So I think it's going to be between Deshaun Elliott and Kerby Joseph competing for that starting free safety job.
Now, Mase, I always get so nervous when somebody's a free safety, right? When they're playing that designated coverage role where they're dropping. I don't often find them very useful to start in an IDP league. Am I wrong?
In the case of the Lions, I believe so, because I like Tracy Walker a lot. I feel like he's a sneaky guy, even if it's a DB3 or something like that, for sure. But as far as Kerby Joseph goes, he's a tip drill master, and I love he's somewhat slow, or at least slower than everyone else ahead of him at processing the play. But when it comes to the RPOs, things like that, he stays true, and he'll stay true until he figures out what's going on, and then he'll go. He won't, you know what I mean? But at least he actually makes a decision. He gets sucked in play action. But you said that he was a wide receiver previously? Someone said that?
Right,
So, maybe it'll come as the usage comes and stuff like that. I could see the Lions just running through safeties, like Gary was saying, just to see kind of what sticks and what doesn't. But I know that Tracy Walker III is like the unsung hero of the secondary, and he's going to be the one that's all the traffic's going through and stuff, I believe. So I don't have the highest hopes for him, but if you want to throw a dart on a guy that could potentially be a free safety, I guess go ahead.
All right. Finishing out our top 10, we have Percy Butler from Louisiana, drafted by the Commanders with the 8th pick of the 4th round. Mase, tell me something about Percy Butler.
This guy is amazing as a gunner in punt formation. I love his special teams play. Seriously, he's tenacious, man, as they come. He had 3 interceptions and 10 pass breakups in 3 years, not 10 years. And he's really good at breaking up the one-on-one ball. I don't know. He was the strong safety, occasional free safety I have written down, but they got McCain and Curl for the Commanders still, right? So I don't know. Just trying to find.
They sort of got Bobby McCain. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'm not just having him at 10. I'm not too high on him. I don't have amazingly high hopes. Right. But I don't know if you're super desperate.
From an IDP perspective, I think we better hope that it's not Bobby McCain, or it's just we're not going to get any production from that position at all. We just lose it because he's not after this point. He's had a lot of injuries. I believe he's kind of a smaller guy to begin with. Now he's up in age. I like this kid Butler coming in a little bit. I fought to put him up a little bit farther in this tier here. I think this is another really good pick by Ron Rivera.
Well, you fought so hard, you actually created a second 8. Now, I teach English, but I'm pretty sure there's only 1-8, Gary.
Yeah, I really need to get an editor. I really do. I need to get an editor. I'd ask Craig, but he'd just make fun of me.
That is true.
Yeah.
That is true, and rightly so. That's why
Yeah.
Craig is here. Okay, so gentlemen, looking at the list of safeties that were drafted, we covered everyone drafted in the first 4 rounds. That's our top 10, except for 2. Now, former Nebraska Cornhusker Cam Taylor Britt and former Baylor Bear JT Woods are the 2 drafted safeties who we have not talked about. I believe Cam Taylor Britt is projected to be a slot corner. That's what I've read for the Bengals, which, may be something to keep an eye on, especially for corner required leagues. We know how our dear friend Tripp always pushes slot corners, always take the corners who are closest to the ball when the ball is snapped. But what about JT Woods? Do we not have any love for him? Any JT Woods takes?
I mean, I was looking at the tape. He profiles like a free safety. I really didn't see any upside for tackling. He's not an aggressive tackler. I didn't really see him play much in the box. I wanted to put him in the top 10, but I think the players that we have listed here are more multi-dimensional. Can stop the run and have upside in coverage. That's why I left JT Woods out. I think he profiles as a deep safety.
Especially because he ended up on the Chargers, correct?
Right.
Do they have another safety who's any good? I don't know. I've heard rumors, Mase.
Yeah, they might have someone, man.
They are Gilliman on there too. He really got some play last year for the Chargers here and there. I think he played real well. Didn't he sign somebody too? I thought they had signed somebody. Possibly, maybe I'm incorrect about that.
All right, so we are good leaving JT Woods out, even though he was drafted ahead of a lot of these guys, because it's a different position. Although he might be a great at what he does, it's not necessarily what we're looking for in IDP. So my question to you, and how I want to end this show, is to talk a little bit about draft strategy. I know we didn't talk about this beforehand. I didn't tell you I was going to ask you about this beforehand, but I don't care. I'm in the middle of a couple drafts. I could handle offense-only drafts. I never know what to do and when to start pulling the trigger, right? In a rookie draft with my IDP mixed in. Mase, where are you? When are you ready to start drafting? And we'll keep it focused on what we're talking about. When would you take Kyle Hamilton in a rookie draft?
I personally would probably, depending where I'm at, my roster, stuff like that, I wouldn't feel bad taking him towards the middle of the end of the first. Oh, wait, no, sorry, that's an IDP, sorry. Okay, so probably middle second and a second, probably in conjoined leagues. But I'm also the guy that if I'm in the 12th or 11th spot, I'll throw in an IDP guy up top because I'm already going to take, my running back or whatever that I kind of have under the radar or whatever. I'll do that to add shock and all value so other people will be like, crap, what's going on? Kind of get them out of their stuff. And then you kind of see the pieces fall. People start reaching for whatever, and then you kind of pick up the pieces on where they go. I like to stay like water in drafts. I just kind of like to see what happens. I'm like the Joker, dude. I'll throw something out there and burn it just to let it burn and see who gathers up to it, I play dirty sometimes.
I agree. I love what you said about, especially when you are at the tail end of a draft. I love picking on the turn. I think it gives you a lot more control over the direction of a draft, even a couple slots in, right? Like if you're 11-2, on that turn, it's a little bit wider. But I thought it was interesting what you said about drafting the IDP first, just to stir it up, just to stir the pot. Gary, where are you with drafting IDPs in rookie drafts? And I know you don't like rookies.
I don't know, Brandon. Would there be any indication of what I think of future draft picks going on right now? Yeah, I just got done trading a bunch of draft picks in our GR Writers League. I have 8 players. We're only in the 6th round, something like, no, wait, I just drafted the 5th. I just traded last year's to get in. If I'm actually going after Hamilton in this whole situation, the main thing that I'm going to make sure of is I'm not drafting him as a starter, whatever the format is. I mean, I could say round this, round that, but I mean, if you're talking a standard league where you got like 4 starting IDP, or if you're maybe even pushing 6, I mean, Hamilton, that means you're probably only starting like 2 safeties or 2 DBs or 3. Yeah, it's just not enough there. In deeper formats, I'd be willing to go ahead and get a hold of them. And I got to be honest, if I was and had the top 10 pick, I guarantee you that if my offense was looking pretty good and I wasn't really necessary, I mean, if I needed him, I get him. I mean, he's worth. I believe in you. You get what you pay for. Basically, when it comes down to the draft picks. So that's what they're for, right?
It is what they're for. Brandon, what is you're sitting there, let's say you're picking in the middle, late middle, 12-team draft, you're sitting around pick 8, right? All the main guys have gone off the board. You're sitting, you're looking at the back end running backs, the running back 4 or 5, wide receiver 4 or 5. Are you going to take a chance and reach for an IDP?
Yeah, especially if I have a need at either edge rusher or safety, especially edge rusher, man. That position, after the top options go off, I mean, it's a big priority for that position because there's not many top tier edge rushers. So I go after Aiden Hutchinson. I take a shot, Aiden Hutchinson and Kyle Hamilton. Those are my top 2 IDPs, rookie drafts. So definitely, I'm really excited about both Aiden Hutchinson and Kyle Hamilton. I think they can enter that upper echelon fairly quickly, probably going into their second season.
So Hamilton would be your number 2 IDP.
Right. It would be Aiden Hutchinson because of the scarcity of the position, and then Kyle Hamilton. I think he has a chance to be the DB1 in Dynasty.
Wow, Jeff, you got to be listening to this, right? Jeff, you're out there. Hello.
As early as year 2, I think they're going to have a major role for Kyle Hamilton as a rookie. You just look at the rookie minicamp. They gave him the green dot. Defense coordinator was communicating with him. So I'm thinking him and Chuck Clark, they're going to be rotating between nickel backer and strong safety. I'm just very excited about the upside, man. Rookie of the year candidate is definitely he's going to be challenging Aiden Hutchins for that rookie of the year spot. And Jamal Adams, I don't think he's safe. His DB1 status in Dynasty is not safe with Kyle Hamilton, man. He's just awesome, an awesome prospect from what I see.
Well, I don't even know if Jamal Adams is the DB1 right now.
No.
I mean, that's the problem with safeties is that I know Mase talks about this on Twitter, but you don't get a lot of repeats, right? From year to year, that top 12 really turns over.
Right. I'm sorry. It'll be Derwin James, right? Is he?
I think Derwin James. I mean, in my opinion, that's who I would have as the DB1. But I don't know. I get a little bit nervous when taking a safety early in a rookie draft, regardless of the skill level, only because I think I've been burnt too many times.
No. You made a good point the other day. Somebody was asking me about curl in one of our Discord chats, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, yeah, I'd give a second or a third, a couple years away. What was it? I think I said it 2020 third.
23 third.
Yeah, right. And I'm like, I wouldn't have any problem paying that for Curl right now because I think he's going to be very significant for the next few years. And you jumped in there and what'd you say?
I said I would never. I would never pay for a safety.
Right.
I don't believe in paying for safeties.
Right. And I got to remember that for the fact too. I like Curl a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But for the fact that you would come in and I was like, well, yeah, you're right, because it's actually kind of a watered down position. Sure, they're kind of like linebacker. You have your top 10, and then you got this big middle grasp here that are average guys that you can usually get within a points or two average a week from each, or even 2 to 3 points. It's not that big of a variable if you're building your consistency on your offense and stuff. Hopefully you're leaning on your offense to win this. It's always nice to have these nice shiny Darius Leonards and Devin Whites and all these guys. And I mean, they're well worth it too, but so sometimes you can just slide on through a little bit, and you get a lot of good value. Now your specific guys like your defensive ends, that's if I'm going to pick in a balanced format in a rookie league, I think I have to have Hutchinson up there too. And I don't think that I have anybody else that I would go out on my way to get on a roster, even on the tail end of this, out of this IDP class. Not this year, but I don't do this much. I'll be picking towards the end later on in ours, but throwing some darts. But I like Hutchinson just for all his upside, really.
Yeah, there's definitely a top tier of edge rushers who I am definitely targeting. I'm going after Hutchinson, like you said. I'm generally not getting him. He's going before I would take him. But Thibodeau, I'm interested in. I'm interested in Trayvon Walker, Jermaine Johnson, even Arnold Edebike, I think, because these guys are going to get the pass rushing snaps I want to see. And if you can land that pass rusher, I just think that it pays off for a longer period of time. And I could be wrong. I'm often wrong. Just ask my wife or my students. But
I'm sure they'll tell you.
I don't know. I just think it's a better long-term investment to find a good edge. And I'd rather take shots at second-tier edges than slightly higher ranked safeties. But that's just my strategy. I don't know.
No, there's definitely nothing wrong with it. I was glad you came back in and said that, because that guy, if you knew him, apparently, probably.
That's my buddy. That's Mongol.
Yeah. Right. So, yes, thanks for talking him away from the edge, maybe on my fault,
No, listen, hey, I love chatting it up in the Discord channel. You people listening outside, make sure you sign up. Go to gridironratings.com. Check out our Discord channel. There's a lot of good conversation. A lot of people, I don't agree with everyone, but at least we'll mix it up and we'll give you a wide range of answers and the reasoning behind them. Gentlemen, we seem to have lost Mase, but it is time for our final thoughts and our tags. So let everybody know where they can find you and anything that you're working on. Brandon.
Yes, you can find me on Twitter at bjack83. And as I mentioned earlier in the show, I write the Key and Diagnose series, talking about mostly second year players. Also, I'm working on the rookie class right now, the top 5. I finished the top 5 linebackers. I'm working on the top 5 rookie safeties. So check out my content on that coming out very soon.
All right, bjack83. Gary?
Hey, just, check me out at the IDP Tipster. They're on Twitter. And I think we got Mase back, don't we? There he is.
My fault, guys.
Well,
No problem at all, brother. We were just
so you did that on purpose? Is that what you said?
That was
I think
perfect.
that's what he said.
Dramatic effect.
I just did that on purpose. That's all right. Yeah, we was kind of dragging feet a little bit. Hey, guys, just catch me at the IDP Tipster at Twitter. Check my content out. They're just the same place where Brandon's is. Get a look at our draft guide. Check out our ratings, our rankings. Check it all out. And please subscribe and support us by, leaving a comment. Tell us hi. Ask us how you're doing. Any questions you might got.
Tell a friend. Mase, why don't you let everybody know where they can find you and anything that you're working on?
Yeah, on Twitter at CaliKing49er17. I am a IDP writer. I also cover drafted stuff over at IDP Guys. And we also have a rookie hub over there at IDP Guys and a draft magazine that I have my defensive rankings on. So if you want to see the rest of my defensive rankings and a couple other talented people's rankings, go ahead and get on over there and purchase that thing and help us, or we will help you win your shit.
Nice.
Sorry.
Oh, perfect.
Oh,
Ladies
right,
and
man.
gentlemen, thank you to everyone for tuning in. A special thank you to Mase Riney for joining us tonight. Welcome to the crew. We're happy to have you as a guest on the show. Thank you, Gary and Brandon, as always, for putting this together, taking time to join us. You can find me on Twitter at JJ Wenner. Be sure you're tuning in to all of the Gridiron Ratings podcasts. Rider Dynasty will be live on Wednesday with all of your Dynasty needs. Tune in to Getting Defensive every Tuesday and Thursday for your IDP content. And catch the Fantasy Chop Shop with Ronnie and Jeff on Saturdays. But remember, your path to the title starts with Gridiron Ratings. Boat drinks, my friends. Boat drinks.